On a warm, quiet afternoon, sunlight poured through the tall windows of the Marrow estate, illuminating every inch of the luxurious drawing room. The golden frames, deep red curtains, and polished marble floors glowed under the gentle daylight, and in the center of that glowing room lay a sight that didn't belong there. A mountain of money spread across the table. $50, $100, and $20 bills were scattered like fallen leaves. Slumped on the ornate leather sofa behind it was Alaric Voss, a billionaire known for his sharp intelligence and colder-than-ice reputation. But today, his eyes were closed not from exhaustion, but by intention. He wasn't sleeping. He was testing what he was about to discover would silence the world he thought he knew. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, and tell us in the comments from which country or city you are watching today. Earlier that day, Alaric had overheard one of his board members complaining about the dishonesty of people who seem poor but want quick money. The words irritated him, but they also triggered something inside him, curiosity mixed with suspicion. He wanted to prove the man wrong, or prove him right. So he devised a test. Something dramatic, something unrealistic, but revealing. Leave a fortune openly on the table and pretend to fall asleep. Anyone dishonest would take advantage instantly, but he wasn't testing his staff or his executives. He wanted to test them. One person who fascinated him the most, Maid, the young daughter of his maid. Maid was around 7 or 8 years old, a small girl with tired eyes and clothes that had been mended so many times, the patches became part of her identity. Alaric had observed her from a distance for months. She never complained, never asked for anything, and often waited quietly in the corner while her mother cleaned the house. She had the kind of innocence that made the wealthy uncomfortable, a reminder of what they had long forgotten. Her mother, Estelle, had stepped out to wash the linens, leaving Maid alone in the room. That was when Alaric positioned himself on the sofa, loosened his tie, let his head tilt back, and closed his eyes. He didn't know exactly what he expected. Maybe the girl would run away, maybe she would cry, or maybe she would take the money not out of greed, but out of desperation. What he didn't expect was the silence. Maid saw the money immediately. Her eyes widened, not with hunger, but with fear. She stepped closer, hesitating before touching the edge of one bill with trembling fingers. Her small hand hovered in the air as though the money might burn her. Alaric, though pretending to be asleep, could feel the shift in the room. He could sense her conflict like heat against his skin. She was thinking, contemplating, struggling. The sunlight caught her face, revealing the softness of her features, the dirt smudges from playing outside, the weariness of a child who had grown old too fast. He listened as she sniffed quietly, a small sound that almost cracked his composure. She picked up a single bill, 100. Her fingers tightened around it, and for a split second Alaric's breath trembled. This was it. This was where she would fail. But then she did something he never expected. She placed the bill flat on the table again, smoothing its edges with delicate care, as if making it neat again would erase the temptation she had felt. She swallowed hard, whispering something under her breath. Alaric didn't understand the words, but he felt their weight. Maid stood still for a few seconds, staring at the money. Her eyes glistened, and then slowly she reached not for the bills, but for the small wooden hairpin that held her messy ponytail. She removed it gently and placed it on top of the pile of money, like an offering, a trade. A simple .it was the most heartbreaking gesture he had ever seen. Her small voice trembled in the quiet room as she whispered to the money as though it could respond. She told it she would never steal, that her mother said honesty was the only thing they owned that no one could take away. She said she hoped whoever the money belonged to would find her hairpin, and know she tried her best. She wished she could help her mother buy medicine, buy new shoes, buy a warm blanket, but not with stolen money. Never with stolen money. Alaric felt a sting behind his eyelids, the kind he hadn't felt since childhood. He wanted to sit up, but he forced himself to stay still, wanting to hear every word. The room seemed to hold its breath with him. After placing her hairpin, Maid stepped back. Her shoulders curled inward as if protecting a fragile heart. She whispered again, this time more firmly, telling herself she was strong enough to walk away, and she did. She turned from the table, walked toward the window, and sat on the floor with her hands folded, eyes lowered, waiting for her mother. Alaric couldn't pretend any more. He opened his eyes quietly. the sunlight now blinding him with the truth he had never expected to see. The money didn't matter. The test didn't matter. What mattered was the small, worn hairpin lying on the pile like a priceless treasure. He lifted it slowly, feeling its rough edges, its uneven carvings handmade, probably by Mara herself. Or maybe a gift from someone she loved. It was the most valuable thing anyone had ever left him. He looked toward the little girl who sat quietly at the window, unaware that her life had just changed forever. The world outside was bright and warm, and inside that room, something inside Alaric began to melt. Like winter giving way to spring, he stood and walked to her gently, not wanting to frighten her. When she noticed him, her eyes widened with panic, thinking she had done something wrong. But Alaric knelt in front of her and placed the hairpin in her hands. He told her she had taught him a lesson no amount of wealth ever could. He told her that kindness like hers deserved the world, and he promised, with a sincerity that shook even his own heart, that her life and her mother's life would never be the same again. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories to the world. Before you go, tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were in Mara's place?